Good evening.
Oh, I'm so used to saying that.
सर आप इधर आ जाओ सर. अरे सर सिद्धार्थ सर आप लोग इधर आ जाओ ये.
Okay, I won't take much of your time for two reasons. One, because it's already too late. The other, that I don't know much about what I have to talk. And one very important reason being that it's already 6:45 and my wife has been waiting for me all day. So it's frightening sometimes. I have been given, Disha told me that I should talk about 498A and 304B. I think some of you have already studied IPC. So for you, I think it will be repetitive, and at the same time, obviously, it's almost impossible to match K. Pandey sir. So I would not try and do that. And please don't compare me with K. Pandey sir. Okay. What Samreen ma'am talked about? Dowry prohibition. Okay. So 498A also and 304B, I believe this much you already know that this also relates to, in a way, dowry. Obviously the ambit of 498A is broader and it is not only encompassing dowry. First and foremost, I believe anyone who is studying this can only study something like this if he or she is actually very honest, or else it's simply a lip service, paying lip service to the cause, as we very often do, isn't it? We all talk about dowry, like I have said it so many times in my class also. Many of my classmates, they adjudicate, punish people for having taken dowry. And yes, and they themselves have been the beneficiary of this very otherwise lucrative societal model, looking at it from the point of view of obviously a boy. It's otherwise very lucrative, isn't it? Okay. Now this section 498A inserted into the Indian Penal Code in the year 1983. Okay. And giving and taking of dowry is already an offence under the Dowry Prohibition Act. I believe this much you already know. Okay. So then what therefore is the difference between a provision which says that if the husband or the relatives of the husband treats a woman with cruelty, it is an offence, punishable, for which the punishment may extend to 3 years and fine or both. I think this is what is there in 498A. Okay. Good to see so many of you are here for something which is not going to fetch you any marks. It's really heartening. I was thinking that 5-10 log honge. Otherwise I would have prepared a little better. Because only if you know the kind of audience that you are actually going to face that relatively you would prepare. This is all from common sense. Okay, so 498A, I said, deals with, in a way makes it punishable for husband or relatives of husband to treat a woman with cruelty. Cruelty, this I believe is the only place wherein you would even find an explanation defining what is cruelty. Okay? Because cruelty otherwise, you find this term also in family while studying Hindu Marriage Act, wherein cruelty is a ground for divorce. But that there it is applicable also for the boy. That means even a If even a boy can be treated with cruelty by a girl, that also is the possibility. But that possibility is only limited to family law, and that too for the purposes of divorce. Okay? You would be studying, those who haven't, in Hindu Marriage Act, that cruelty is the ground mentioned for divorce. But here, this cruelty under section 498A is specifically meant to protect women. In fact, the very topic of today's discourse was women-centric laws. Though this may not be the apt phrase, because it seems that law is slanted in favor of women, but that's not the case. That is keeping in mind the societal realities and therefore bring women at par with men because of the lopsidedness in which our society has posed or put women into. Okay. When it comes to the definition part of cruelty, it again is bifurcated into two. Okay. In first, it says that doing anything which can drive a woman to commit suicide, or which is likely to put the life or limb of such woman in danger. Okay. Such acts, and there within brackets, I think it is also mentioned that act can be physical as well as mental. Okay, so it's not necessarily physical force that can drive a woman to commit suicide. Even mental torture, if the same is tantamount to driving her to commit suicide or to put her life or limb in danger, that such an act can constitute cruelty. And secondly, this is about harassment meted out to the girl on account of a demand for some valuables. Okay, and here the word dowry is not mentioned. Okay, here the word dowry is not mentioned. So dowry would automatically get covered in this second part of the definition of cruelty, but at the same time it is not only limited to dowry. Okay, and is this of any significance? Is this of any significance? Because what is this? What could be the significance? Anybody who has not studied Indian Penal Code? First year ke bhi hai yahan pe?
Yes, sir.
Who is from first year? Yes. So what could be the significance of putting such a provision? No idea? It's very simple. अभी आपको बताया गया होगा. What is the definition of dowry? What is the definition of dowry? First year, yes. भूल गए? Second year, what is the definition of dowry?
Jewelry or money given in the time of marriage, at the time of marriage, and if it is written, it's not dowry.
No, the very vital part you did not spell out of the definition, which is yes. कोई अभी क्वेश्चन लिखा हो तो पढ़ भी सकता है. Yes. Giving in consideration, as a consideration for marriage. Okay? पत्नी से या पत्नी के घर वालों से कुछ भी मांगना गलत नहीं है. Isn't it? It's very obvious. मान लीजिए मेरा बिजनेस पूरा का पूरा डूब गया. My father-in-law can provide some kind of economic support. अगर मैं उनको फोन कर दूं कुछ पैसे दीजिए, that's not illegal. ठीक है? Or if I tell my wife कि कुछ पैसे मांग लो, that's not wrong. There's nothing wrong in it. But that is not dowry, which is why you need to distinguish. Okay? There, what is dowry? Something that is given as a consideration for marriage. शादी हो रही है, इसलिए ये दीजिए. That constitutes dowry. Okay? Consideration for marriage. I think in contract you must have come across this term. Consideration for marriage. That is very crucial. That's very important. Yes. Which is why that's a very good argument available for a defense. Always when the prosecution levels the charge of dowry demand, because if you can prove that the demand, even if made, had no connection with marriage, and that you can therefore come out of the rigor of the definition provided of dowry, then you have defended successfully your client. But prosecution generally makes a mistake that any demand automatically is treated as dowry. But that may not be the case. ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि शादी के बाद मुझे लगे यार पहले नहीं मांगा अब मांगना शुरू कर. That is very much possible. But that demand will not be dowry. But that demand and a consequent cruelty meted out in pursuance of such demand would therefore be covered under this part 2 of 498A. And that's the very important significance. ये क्या होगा?
ट्रेजर
Treasure hunt. This is clear. Okay. These days, if you talk to a man or an advocate, there is general apprehension about a provision like this, 498A. Why? Because 498A is cognizable, non-bailable, non-compoundable. Cognizable, non-bailable, non-compoundable. What does that mean? When it is cognizable, police can arrest you without warrant. If the offense is cognizable, the police can arrest you without warrant. And this is most dreadful, especially looking at it from the point of view of boy and his family. This being cognizable. Okay. Non-bailable. Non-bailable does not mean that you cannot seek bail, but yeah, bail cannot be sought as a matter of right. It becomes the discretion of the court. Okay. So that obviously again makes it difficult. And thirdly, non-compoundable. What does that mean? Non-compoundable. Yes, which section of CRPC talks about it? 320 CRPC. Okay. Section 320 CRPC provides for list of offences which are compoundable. Compoundable का मतलब क्या होता है? हाँ? Yes, first year वाले भी बोले कुछ compoundable. ये तो फ्लैट के तैयारी के समय पढ़ा होगा.
The parties can discuss among themselves and come to a
mutual understanding and thereby decide not to pursue the criminal case further. Okay, this is compoundable. Okay, this is not compoundable. That means once you have leveled the charge of cruelty on your husband and his relatives, then even if now you want to patch up and live happily with your husband and in-laws, you are forced to continue the prosecution which you wanted to be initiated against them. Is it correct? Yes? Why? You can differ. This is not a factual question. You can say yes, you can say no. Obviously, only if you are convinced about it. This is not compoundable. Okay. But the courts have compounded it. Yes, but the compounding of 498A is not possible by a sessions court or the trial court. Why? होना चाहिए compound? Nobody has any opinion? Compounding होनी चाहिए नहीं होनी चाहिए?
होनी चाहिए.
होनी चाहिए.
But sir, it's a criminal offense. So
It's a criminal offense.
Yes,
तो
sir.
criminal offense तो 320 में बहुत सारे हैं.
Yes, so but then it's they obviously thought about it. That is why they made it compoundable. If you go to court,
Non-compoundable, yes.
non-compoundable. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So obviously, sir.
So by
It
the parties of the
it's
criminal
only made
offense, they
compoundable.
need to be punished irrespective of the fact whether they can settle in the personal exam or not.
But then the very person, the very person who had grievance now wants that the prosecution should be dropped. And it's a question of my life, isn't it? If I would pursue it, in all likelihood, my marriage is not going to continue, and I want to be in that marriage. Yes.
But if situations have reached to that extent where a criminal offense has taken place, then it's not just two people involved.
But then you need to be real. एक दिन लड़ाई हुई, मैंने जाके केस कर दिया. Because we are talking about compounding of offences, not after the conclusion of trial. Okay? Not after the conclusion of trial. We are talking about it when the trial is still pending. When the trial is still pending, there is every likelihood that the case in the very first instance was actually a false case. False in the sense that it was obviously not aggravated to the extent it is contemplated to be an offence under section 498A IPC. It was perhaps usual wear and tear of a married life, but just that again the girl took it to her heart, and probably she was also a law graduate. And therefore, and she also knew that's a cognizable offence. So she knew that I would not be able to prove it in a court of law, but that will take years. In the meantime, let me show, okay, whose side law actually stands, and therefore I will do that. Simple. Because realistically, many a times cases have been lost, knowing this कि सबसे पहले तो arrest होंगे, isn't it? So if that be the case, whether compounding is desirable, but then lower courts can't do it. Okay? But that's something which is for the legislature to look into. Okay, lower courts cannot do it. Despite the fact that how it may seem very apt in a given case, it is not within the power of the lower court, the sessions court or the trial court to actually do anything about this. Okay. Although that does not mean that if you cannot compound the offence, it will necessarily, you are therefore out of the marriage. Because prosecution then will go on, and therefore acrimony will gradually augment, and gradually therefore there will be nothing left in the marriage. It is not such, because still there will be prosecution, and you can tell your husband's side that look, this is not compoundable, so there I am helpless, but I will definitely help you win the case. Yeah. And how can you do that? By not supporting your own case. Yes, by not supporting your own case. ठीक है? ऐसे ही होता है. That's also is a way out. Compoundable नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं, मैं हार जाऊंगी. ठीक है? Result will be same. ठीक है? और मेरा तुमसे तो पैचअप हो ही गया है. Law उसको पैचअप ना माने. So what, isn't it? For me, patch-up with you was more important, and the outcome remains the same. The outcome, even if the patch-up would have been formally recognized by law, and even if you are found not guilty, remains the same, practically speaking. So be it. So that is still available. Okay? Don't support your own case. Okay? Let all your witnesses say, नहीं इसने कभी बोला ही नहीं कि कभी ऐसा है, उसको तो बहुत अच्छे से रखते थे. अपनी माँ को भी बोलो यही बोलने के लिए, पापा को भी बोलो यही बोलने के लिए, नहीं इसको तो बहुत अच्छे से रखते थे, कभी ऐसे बोला ही नहीं. ठीक है? और आपको भी जब कोर्ट में बुलाया जाए तो आपको एक बार कहा था. Okay? So that way you can. But this is keeping in mind that she actually wants to do that. Perhaps not keeping it compoundable, the reason being that she may therefore be forced. Yes.
Cannot it be seen from this viewpoint that after, if you make it compoundable,
Yes.
like after during the trial is going on, the underlying purpose of this is to protect women from any kind of threat.
That is what I was coming to that, only that the reason being that if it is made compoundable, then there is every likelihood that she may be forced subsequently to come to an agreement, this being compoundable. Okay? And this perhaps is the reason, not perhaps, this is the reason I think, why the legislature, despite the fact that something appears too obvious to all of us, has not chosen to make it compoundable. Because then it would be a way out for them to actually pressurize her, whereby she can come to a understanding whereby the case can actually be compounded. Okay. Though, again, the jury is out. You will find people divided on these lines as to whether 498A should be made a compoundable offence or not. Okay. Very recently, there was a very talked about judgment under section 498A, Arnesh Kumar versus, yes, wherein the court in a way diluted the impact of the fact that 498A is a cognizable offence. Yes, section 41 of the CRPC, which empowers the police officer to arrest. The court has in a way diluted, though diluted is not the right word, but keeping in mind what was happening in reality, the court definitely has diluted the impact of this being a cognizable offence. The court has put the onus upon the judicial magistrates before whom a person who is arrested is to be produced within 24 hours of his arrest. That I believe is a mandatory requirement both under the Constitution as well as under the CRPC, section 57. That a person who is arrested without a warrant must be produced within 24 hours before a judicial magistrate having the jurisdiction. And further custody of that person is only possible if the same is authorized by that judicial magistrate exercising his powers of giving a person on remand under section 167 CRPC. I hope you know that. Remand. Yes, if you become judicial officers, you will find that at 6 o'clock somebody is knocking your door and suddenly you open the door and you will find हाथ कड़ी लगाए हुए दो लोग खड़े हैं. ठीक है? It's the remand करना है. This happens. My brother is a judicial magistrate, so he initially was very ये क्या सुबह किसी को बना जाते हैं. But that's the life. You are a judicial magistrate, so you are on duty 24 hours. Okay. ठीक है. This appears to be fine. The court actually was very, court in a way came down very heavily on this practice of the police officers, that they would arrest a person immediately after the lodging of a case under section 498A. Okay. I am not telling you all this from a women-centric point of view. I am only in a way telling you what the law is. It's up to you how you want to read it, whether, because the way I am putting it seems like empowering men. But it's not empowering men. The reason, there has to be a balance. It has been made cognizable. That does not mean, therefore, the arrest should be the first thing that should be resorted to. Because we all know arrest is not punishment, isn't it? It is because of generally people get carried down by the fact that this has not been, why has he not been arrested? And it's always portrayed like this in the media, as if arrest itself is a punishment. But that's not the case. Even for the most dreaded of dreaded criminals, if it can be ensured that the person would assist the prosecution and the court during the trial, even that alleged dreaded criminal can be outside jail. There's nothing wrong in it. But just that it is very unlikely that such alleged dreaded criminal would actually not try and escape and actually assist the prosecution and the court, that you therefore want that he or she should be behind bars during trials and should not be released on bail. Okay? But bail is always the rule and jail is exception. So arrest itself cannot be the punishment. Okay? Whereas what was happening was that under section 498A, arrest itself had become a kind of punishment. Arrest ho gaya, yahi to main chahta tha. Okay. So therefore, very rightly, but you still never don't know whether this will be acted upon or not, because I don't think even the 10% of the investigating officers or in India have even heard about this case, isn't it? And every person who may be arrested is not expected to carry every time a copy of this judgment that if the police comes to arrest me, I'll show this. Okay, this is also not possible. Which is why whether this will be acted upon or not, in all likelihood, not. Somebody as empowered as you perhaps will have the luxury of quoting that judgment before the police officer when he or she comes to arrest you. But generally it will take some time for police officers to know that something like this exists in the form of a Supreme Court order. Okay. Such a provision should be there. Generally though, 498A होना चाहिए, होना चाहिए. Provision तो होना ही चाहिए. But when the giving and taking of dowry itself is an offence, why do you need another 498A?
Dowry is not just a word. Dowry is covered. Even other form of cruelty is covered. Explanation.
Other form of cruelty is covered. And
cruelty against women, it is not only against wife. It's against women.
Yes.
Against women.
Yes.
Not only wife is covered under section 498.
No, but husband and in-laws कहने का मतलब तो वही है.
And then even the
Husband, perpetrators can only be husband and in-laws. So therefore, the victim will always be wife.
And even the word used is.
However, in one of the cases, Supreme Court even said that even in a live-in relationship, 498A can be resorted to. However, this was not applied in that case because the facts of the case, it was not proven. I don't have the name right now, but मैंने पढ़ा आपको. I can tell you tomorrow. Or if you look into S.N. Mishra's IPC, I read that case there. S.N. Mishra is an author of Indian Penal Code. In his book, if you read the portion dealing with 498A, that judgment is mentioned.
So even in one of the judgments, the court has stated that even one incident of cruelty would be covered under section 498.
What?
Even a single incident of
Cruelty will be covered. And one very important distinction is that under Dowry Prohibition Act, demanding dowry may be an offence, but subjecting somebody to cruelty for or in connection with the demand for dowry is not covered there.
Dowry Prohibition Act.
Yes, Dowry Prohibition Act does not deal with cruelty. Only the demand is punishable. Okay? Only the demand of dowry is punishable there. But subjecting somebody to cruelty for or in connection with the demand for dowry is still something for which you need to resort to a provision like section 498A. So a person can be charged under the Dowry Prohibition Act as well as 498A, and both then there will not necessarily be an overlap. Because one deals with demand for dowry specifically being an offence, and second is the fact that in pursuance of that demand for dowry, cruelty has been meted out to the victim, and therefore this again is a difference, okay, between the two.
Explanation is altogether different in 498A.
Explanation?
Explanation A makes it totally different from dowry. It says
Yes. But my question was only limited to when dowry itself is there, then why again link dowry to 498A? The reason being that that is only limited to demanding dowry, and here treatment being meted out to the girl in pursuance of that